So look, if you want the Battlefield 2042 subreddit to be less toxic, then
make a better game.
Make a better game.
Give us less reason to be toxic about you stealing money from us, you stupid
but
fucks.
There's nothing.
Give us less reason to be toxic about you stealing money from us. Give us less reason to be toxic about you stealing money from us.
Hello, Buzz here, and welcome back to another Battlefield 2042 video. We've got even more crazy 2042 news to showcase today, and I don't want this video to just ramble on and on. So if you like what you see, please take a moment to smash that beautiful subscribe button. And if you really like what you see, maybe consider also activating the bell icon to receive all future uploads from my channel. Let's get this one started. Priority number one is we need to briefly discuss a topic I covered in yesterday's 2042 video, a link to that video in the video description below, and it has to do with Steam issuing refunds to disgruntled players. And you need to know that this is not a guarantee that it will happen. Now, while it is true that they are issuing refunds, if you've logged like 100 hours already in the game, you're probably not going to get one. But if you feel that you still deserve one, then file the refund request and be specific with your explanation. If you logged like 15 hours since launch and weren't able to get in more because the game kept crashing and still is crashing, or maybe you've had problems with the key mapping bug, then explain that in your submission. Again, be specific and persistent. Steam recognizes there are issues with the game, and if your request is legitimate and supported, they're going to respond. Now, as far as the questions I received yesterday concerning those of you that purchased this game on Origin or the Microsoft or PlayStation stores, you know what? I'm not holding my breath for you, and I'm sorry about that. The game is certainly performing on par with Cyberpunk 2077, and we know how that turned out with PlayStation yanking the game from the online store. Will Battlefield 2042 actually get to that point? I honestly don't know. So with that out of the way, let's get into the first item I wanted to discuss, and it is Hazard Zone, or should I say it was Hazard Zone. Referencing this PlayStation Life article titled Battlefield 2042 player count for Hazard Zone is so low that DICE stopped tracking it. And let's do this some justice here and take a moment to reflect on what that headline is actually saying. Hazard Zone flopped so hard that the studio that made it gave up on tracking how many players were actually engaging with that entire portion of their game. And if you know anything about studios, it is that they track every minute detail and matrix concerning their products. They know exactly who, when, where, and why, down to the decimal point. So to see that they stopped tracking how many people were playing Hazard Zone means it must have gone so horribly wrong. Reading from the article, it's been almost 2 months since the release of Battlefield 2042, and things are not looking good for the latest mainline game in the franchise. A prominent insider report that, due to the staggeringly low player count for the Battlefield 2042 Hazard Zone game mode, developer DICE is no longer tracking its statistics internally. In fact, DICE hasn't been tracking the game mode past a week after Battlefield 2042 launched back in November 2021. So basically, around Thanksgiving time here in the US, DICE had already given up on tracking the player counts in Hazard Zone, which is just staggering. Hazard Zone is the Battlefield franchise's take on the popular extraction genre, similar to games like Escape from Tarkov. Okay, I'm going to have to completely disagree with this analogy, as Tarkov is in a class of its own. Anyway, players drop into an area and must collect data caches whilst fighting AI enemies and other player squads. There are also a limited number of extraction points, which theoretically adds to the tension and competitive aspect of the game. However, fans were quick to notice that the game mode offered little in the way of incentive. I agree with that. While players could use the collected data to buy weapons and gear for the next go-around, that was pretty much it. Again, I agree with that. Players soon found that they had an excess of data to buy things, even if they hadn't successfully extracted. Worse yet, because Battlefield 2042 still doesn't feature an in-game voice chat, I still can't believe this game launched without it, fans were left confused as to how they were supposed to communicate with their teammates in such a team-based game mode. Hazard Zone has a myriad of issues, but this article just kind of touched on two of them. The fact that the mode has its own economy system that is totally isolated from the rest of the game. I mean, whatever you earn in Hazard Zone stays in Hazard Zone, so you're pretty much stuck playing a very basic extraction royale while earning currency that you can't take back with you to the rest of the game. Furthermore, the mode places a huge emphasis on squad communication, and squad chat is currently not available in this mode or the game. This final portion of the article pretty much seals the deal for Hazard Zone. According to reliable insider Tom Henderson, this has reportedly left DICE with no reason to continue internally tracking the game mode statistics. As a whole, Battlefield 2042's players count has dipped down to around 6,000 concurrent players in the past week. That's probably over on Steam, far below its initial peak of 100,000 players on launch. Now, that is totally Steam. Henderson also speculates that this is likely means fans won't be seeing any further support for the mode anytime soon. And then they've got this link to Henderson's tweet echoing those statements. I don't want this video or any of my upcoming coverage of Battlefield 2042 to be entirely negative, so we do have some good news, and this comes to us from a tweet from Battlefield Bulletin, simply stating, breaking, 2042 Rush is back to hashtag Battlefield Portal, which is a mode the community cried out for to initially stay in Portal mode, and then it was removed by the devs, and now it's apparently back in. Also confirmed is the red light, green light mode, which is described as being like musical chairs, run, stop, kill, repeat. So this could be interesting. I guess I'm going to need to see it live before passing judgment. There will also be 32-player free-for-all, 1942 classes, random sets of weapons, 1942, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and 2042 maps, and all of this will be going live on January 20th, so in 7 days. We first got to see this tweet back on January 10th confirming the red light, green light mode along with a zombie-style mode coming as featured experiences. Also, and this is sort of a breaking topic, coming to us from a tweet from Justin Weeb at Ripple Studios, and it reads, and by the way, he's responding back to a question that he received over on Twitter, "Thanks for bringing this up. You're not wrong. It's taken us too long to get this resolved. Something that should have been simple is proving to be quite complex, but look for an update next week." Here's where he explains what he's talking about. There will be a phased approach to improving the progression in Battlefield Portal. Once again, I see these as positive signs that maybe they're finally trying to address the system they essentially heavily throttled back so quickly after the game launched in November. Overall, I'm going to take these signs as the new management team trying to save this sinking ship. And as a die-hard fan of this franchise, and I have been since Battlefield 1942, I want Battlefield to achieve the maximum success possible. Now, maybe this is just me, but it seems they are focusing all their efforts into Portal. And what I am not seeing is anything directed at, say, like all-out warfare or the specialization systems. Maybe those two facets of this game are just too far gone. I don't know. But most improvements I continue to read have Portal in the description. Where are the overhauls to the all-out warfare map designs, the poor weapon handling, the crazy auto bloom, the revive issues, server lagginess, scoreboard, squatting issues, lack of comms, and you know what? The list just goes on and on. Again, it sounds like there are some positive changes coming, but the overwhelming tidal wave of issues this game has just seems to overpower that positive news. And to finish up today, I wanted to jump back to the clip I used in the intro, and that is Alex from the Angry Joe Show, who really just spits the cold, hard truth. And like the thumbnail says, the truth hurts. Now, this post over on the Battlefield subreddit was clipped from a discussion that the team at the Angry Joe Show had based on the topic of the toxicity on the subreddit, and how EA DICE was actively attempting to just disable the whole damn thing. Now, while I personally don't use language like that, I can certainly agree 1,000,000% with his message. If you don't want to receive the negative responses from the players, then don't advertise a product and represent it as an epic experience. Then deliver a content-light buggy mess that is a shell of the former Battlefield games that we've seen in the past. As Alex perfectly states, make a better game and give us less reason to be toxic about you stealing money from us. And you know what? There's really nothing that can be added to his statement. as it is absolutely and entirely 100% perfect. The studio seems more concerned about the feedback they are receiving for this dumpster fire 2042 they pushed out, falsely I might add, than they are just about taking the harsh criticisms they are due and getting back to work making this a playable and enjoyable experience for the future. After what went down with Cyberpunk 2077 and how that community was assembling with pitchforks and torches, I can't believe that a studio that has been around as long as DICE would be shocked at how negatively their game was received. Now, does the level of rage, vitriol, and language need to be toned down at times? Yeah, I would say it does. But the message of outright betrayal that this loyal fan base has shown is entirely warranted. Please take a moment to support my channel by hitting that subscribe button and ringing the notifications bell. If you could rate and comment on the video, that would also be appreciated. Don't forget to find and follow me on Twitch and Twitter, and you are also invited to join my community Discord server. Links to all of these social platforms in the video description below. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.